The changing landscape of the housing market in Las Vegas requires a real estate professional that understands how to get your offer accepted, willing to go above and beyond for service and accountability. Hi, my name is Dan French. I've been in the real estate and financing industry for over 13 years. Most real estate agents struggle with answering their phone. Please call me directly, 702-557-6176. I'm available for all your real estate needs.
Dan's a fantastic man. He really is.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome.
And what is going on, everybody? This is Dan French. This is a French Workbench podcast here on a Saturday. I want to thank you guys for tuning in, and we have a great show for you guys today. We have a couple of guests. We're going to talk a lot about what's happening, not just in Las Vegas, but across the country. A lot of good information there. If you guys have any questions, comments, please leave them in the comments section. Directly give us a call in studio, or you can reach me directly or any of us outside of studio. You have all our contact information. So let's get right into it, guys. So, yeah, I mean, it's been a little bit of time off. This is our first Saturday show, 2023. Got the problem solver. What's going on, buddy? How are you?
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me on the show again.
Yeah, man. What's going on? Like anything new in your world? Like changes?
2023, it's a new year. It's going, it's almost over the first month, Actually, I have the Problem Solver podcast TV show on Channel 14, but recently, co-host of mine, Danny Miner, he went on his own to start the Crime Solver, which is a nationwide podcast, which actually has been getting a lot of attention. I'm not sure if not that it's the most positive thing, but it's very sad, 4 college students got killed in Idaho. So they arrested the guy as well. So every single week and day he's going live and basically talking about crime, and a lot of people really like true crime.
Yeah.
So he's got about 130,000 views. It's thecrimesolver.com, and basically people call in every minute and they're following him through all over like Ireland, UK, London.
He's in a booming business right now.
So crime is up. So but they like him.
It seems like it, and people really like that the crime stories. Those stories that I'll be honest, I'm a binge crime story watcher. Like all the crime, things that goes on and everything that's going on out there. I really get into that stuff, and that's weird. We can sit there and watch, like you go onto like Netflix, and you got like CSI or what is it, like some of those crime shows that comes on. I mean, there's a lot. Do you guys get into that stuff? Is that like a highlight for you guys?
Supposedly women really like true crime because 65% of his followers, Danny Miner, the crime solver, are women. And
really?
My wife watches a lot of it.
Yeah,
really.
Somehow they can watch like a murder mystery and then they go to sleep and they sleep perfectly. So I don't know the whole story behind it, but 65% of the women are followers out of 130,000 people. Wow. So it is interesting.
I don't know. To me, like it's always like, you kind of know the story. Like if you're like, the insurance guy, or somebody's killed for insurance, you can kind of see where it's going. Or if it's a spousal thing, like a lot of times though, it's somebody that they know of some things like that happens. Like it's interesting with that story. Did they obviously knew that kid, right? Or that guy that did that, right?
They're actually investigating it now, but it seemed like he may have went to the location where the girls worked and followed him. It was a small college town. But what's interesting these days in regards to, especially I was a cop for 17 years, is that these days with technology, I feel like police are able to get like a lot more. Like they check the phone, they check the locations. Like people were saying, like, how do I dispose of a body? They're Googling it. Like people are just ignorant. Like if you're gonna kill someone, like don't Google.
Shut up.
How to get rid of the body, Not that I want to teach anybody what to do if they kill somebody, but like people are using technology and then the law enforcement is using it, right? You think you delete something from your phone, but it's still on your phone, right?
Yeah, that was interesting. How did they catch that cat? I mean, he obviously DNA, right, on a knife, but it's like
that they haven't found yet.
But they found dog
hairs in his apartment what was it, 20, 30 miles away from the crime scene.
They think it's an animal hair. The
Right.
question is, will that match up to the dog that was actually
Really?
in the other home? Or I'm not sure if you
Right.
know, there was another dog that was skinned nearby.
Right.
That could be that dog. So it's kind of crazy. This is going to be a crazy one, like
Yeah.
how they figured it out.
And he's a criminal, whatever.
He was a
studies,
criminal,
criminology.
studying like PhD for criminology.
Yeah.
So he probably knows a lot about what they're going to do, the tactics they're going to do. So it's going to be a very challenging position for them, right, to get that done.
But you know what's interesting? If you ask me personally, even if you study criminology, I was a cop and I went to 2 police academies, but you don't know everything in regards to forensics and how they're going to catch you and stuff like that. So he doesn't seem so smart in regards to whatever he did. Like I said, DNA. They actually got the DNA when he went back home to his house in Pennsylvania where his parents lived. They go
Right.
like a spring break, winter break, and then they took the garbage and they got the DNA from the father. You know, the father's the garbage, and they matched it to his, and it was like 99.9% DNA match.
Can't beat that either.
From the actual sheath of the knife.
Yeah.
And it was left next to the dead bodies on the actual bed. And the guy, you know, probably was never in that home. And they're still investigating it. You know, they've had some parties at the house. I don't think that guy was ever at the house because he was an awkward type of guy.
That's what I said. Like when I saw this guy, let me try to pull this over here. Oh, we don't got a signal here. Hold on. There we go.
But criminally, if they don't have like a knife or a body, I mean, they got the bodies obviously, but if they don't have the knife to commit him, isn't it like hearsay? There's like hard to prove it.
I mean, if you think about it, they didn't say blood, but they said there was actually like DNA that was left on the actual the snap of the sheath. Why would that guy's DNA be on a sheath next to the dead bodies?
Correct,
I mean, are we really thinking conspiracy theory that someone's dropping off that sheath and then the car, the location, them pinging the location? There's so much in general, but it'll be very interesting because I don't think he'll testify. I think he'll remain silent. A criminal defense attorney will try to fight it. But I think they're going to be hardcore. I mean, they literally vacuumed up. They took the dirt from the vacuum cleaner. They vacuumed the guy's car, the house. They cut the bed. Like, they took everything.
They do everything, yeah.
I mean, this guy is, got to go.
I want to also introduce Steve Delois.
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 You got it right.
I got it right. What's going on, Steve?
Not much, man. Enjoyed the holidays, and here we are, like you said, into the new year, and
things happening for you? Like, what's going on in your
eye.
world?
I just had this eye
Your
issue.
eye situation.
Yeah, I thought I was going blind.
You
but
had
I'm
an eye
good.
situation.
I had this like light. I said, "Oh, I see the light."
That's so funny, man.
Too early to
But
see
yeah,
the light.
I just had a little retinal tear, and it's going to heal. It's going to be fine.
And Steve is a real estate agent for KB Home.
That's correct.
Right?
Yep, sir.
What's Up Homes, right? And then so we got the problem solver, and you also do a lot of podcasts on your spare time or just on another platform, right?
Well, one of the studios that I'm at, Stinky Paws, basically, they're right behind the new UFC building, and they have a lot of maybe about 25 shows.
Right.
And it's very interesting because I always laugh, like if you were Michael Jackson hanging out at the studio and you meet other people, so you meet a lot of other people that have podcasts and you kind of build relationships and you go on different podcasts, which I think is really important. And you kind of become friends with other people and social influencing, leveraging, and then you learn a lot from other people. Everyone's doing something a little bit different.
100%. So let's get into our show today. I want to get down to it, the nitty gritty. Again, if you guys don't know, we have a lot of good information we're going to put out in 2023. This is going to be everything Las Vegas, also everything, a lot of content, national news, a lot of things that we're going to put out and topics and opinions that we're going to put out. So the first thing I want to bring up here is we're going to talk about Google cutting 12,000 jobs. Now, is this significant? I think it is. I do. I think that when you look at the situation here and you see that tech is really taking over. Artificial intelligence is taking over. It sounds small, right? 12,000, but yet we hear layoffs. We hear 2023 is not going to be a good year. It's not going to be a good year for the economy, for big business. So is this a big thing? Is this something we're reading into this too much for seeing this? And they're going to replace these people with artificial intelligence. We see the supermarkets, the markets, Walmarts, they all have those smart checkouts, right? You go out, you check out. Is this going to be a wave where people are going to have to really scramble to figure things out because artificial intelligence is here? And so it seems like every week there's somebody, some big company, some big corporation laying mass employees off. So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, they're a tech company, so they can probably afford to lay those people off and replace them with AI. But what do you do with like a Walmart where you have a lot of people working on the floor doing natural stocking and stuff like that? You can't replace that. But, corporations have to cut because their earnings are slim.
I want to ask you a question. When's the last time you've been into a Walmart? Do you go into Walmart?
Yeah, I do.
What do you go to Walmart
If
for?
I need a specific thing, I'll go to Walmart. Last time I went there, I got something for, what was it? It was for my car, something for my car. I forget
It's
what
funny.
it
It
was.
makes it sound specific. It's like a huge store, like a specific item.
Well, yeah, but it was
Where do you normally go?
what I'll do is I'll look online, and if it's at Walmart, rather than having it shipped to the house, I'll just go pick it up.
Like for me, I have to, like you said, it's got to be something specific. But I don't ever grocery shop there.
Oh no,
I don't
my wife
clothes shop
has an
there.
annual membership. It's great. $99 a year. They'll deliver as many times to your house, minimum $35 order. But I could tell you right now, she's helping her sister out too, in back east, where she's sending groceries to her house. An apple's an apple. Is it going to be the greatest thing on earth? No. Do I like to pick my fruit? Everybody does, but it's convenient. I love it. They drop 6-8 bags. They ring the doorbell. Boom. Your groceries are there. During the holidays, it was great.
Are you a Walmart person or no?
What time do they drop off the bags? If I want to just pick
It's
something
within
up
a
real quick.
2-hour time frame. She'll set the time frame.
Got it. I was making a joke. So what time do they drop it off so I could pick some stuff
Oh,
up?
yeah, you can.
along the way-
Hey,
along the
listen,
way.
it's not a perfect process. I think the driver sometimes picks some stuff out because we're missing things out of our order, and she's got to call, customer service.
I mean, are you a Walmart person?
I go into different places. I kind of like the smaller Walmarts because the large Walmarts
the
is too
neighborhood
large.
stores, yeah.
The neighborhood Walmarts are fine if you live close because they're not all over.
Yeah.
So if it's convenient nearby, but a lot of times you want to pick something up, you go to like the close place. But even though some places like Albertsons could be maybe a little more expensive, if it's a block away, do I travel now 7 blocks, 8 blocks to a Walmart where am I probably spending more money on gas to get to that Walmart?
That's why $99 it's delivered.
The truth is
beat
these days
that.
convenience. I mean, honestly, it's amazing. Amazon, right? Free delivery. Next thing can be there within a few hours or something.
And they deliver Whole Foods too.
Here's my thing is that I feel like the economy is shifting where you're going to start to see more people buy online, which we're seeing that. And actually Las Vegas, and there's a lot of land that you have these big corporations building just to for these warehouses.
Distribution centers.
Yeah, distribution centers are hot right now. There's another one being built. I think it's up towards Cadence. We already have the big corporations out here. A lot of North Las Vegas area that you can do that with as well because it's all flat. So I don't know. I think that a lot of people, like for me, I would rather just buy something online like Amazon, to be honest with you. I know it sounds lazy, but to then go to like a Walmart. I know you order your food, but to go actually into a store and go shop, maybe Costco, you know what I mean? Because you just can't really get sometimes the same. I don't know, man. I just don't.
These days I do go to Costco because I got
Yeah.
3 kids. So like we'll go buy milk, we'll go buy eggs there in general. Maybe it's their way of getting in the house with the kids or something like that. But I mean, these days with Amazon, it's just amazing that, can you imagine like a world without Amazon delivering stuff like, for free basically with the membership?
It's funny because I was in the .com era many years ago before I got into real estate, and that was one of the selling points to businesses. Hey, more and more people are going to be moving online. They're going to be looking for businesses online. And businesses at that time used to say, get out of here, I'm doing just fine. And I was with Yellow Pages at the time. And it's going to get to a point where you might not even have a store to go to. You have to order online. I mean, maybe not in my lifetime, but it's going to get to that.
Well, these days, a lot of the malls like Galleria Mall and Henderson, like they're all like kind of going out of business.
Yeah.
Dude,
There's no
did you go
reason
to
for
a
it.
mall recently? I went into a mall and there's nobody in the mall. Nobody's there.
It's kind of a dying age. A lot
Yeah.
of
They're
big
going to
malls.
turn them into homeless camps.
Or I mean, do you think they just implode them and just, I don't know, like what is really a use for a mall if you don't have people
Supposedly,
there?
these days they're trying to change it where it's more for the food and entertainment that people are going out for,
Right.
where it's not the shopping for clothes and stuff. And I haven't been to
Right.
the Galleria Mall in a little bit, but a lot of stores are out, or it's that's the one out in Prim because the economy and COVID basically it was thriving. It was like worth billions of dollars. There's like nothing inside that place anymore. The one by Prim, by the outlets there.
Outlet mall, yeah.
So things are just changing with times, especially with Amazon, right? Shipping stuff, you don't like it, bring it back. So it's just changing times. When you talk about Google, they say it's only 5% of the people that are losing their jobs it's due to transition to AI. But the truth is, a lot of times with these high tech companies, there's going to be a lot of transition with technology, and there's definitely changing times. The century that we live in right now, there's things that are changing. So is it a lot? I mean, it makes news. These news media needs things to report.
Well,
But-
I just think there's a lot of layoff, and I think why I bring this up is this: is there's a looming thought with a lot of people out there that this 2023 is not going to be good, and we're going to see a downturn in the economy, and we're going to talk about that with the housing and the rates and everything else. But with that downturn, confidence goes, and I think with you seeing this layoff, they're like, yeah, it's just 12,000 and it's tech. Okay, well, Google does it. You know, maybe another big corporation does it. You start to see unemployment rise here in Las Vegas, which we're still pretty low.
Defaults rates go up too.
Yeah, I think there's a point though where people start losing confidence, right, in the economy, and they're like, oh no, is this gonna? Because you got to think, man. What's good news? Good news is, hey, so and so's hiring. This company's hiring. This is hiring. I'm not really seeing that. I don't see the promotion of big companies and corporations and opportunity. Now here in Vegas, it might be the outlier, and I've said that before. They have a lot of job conventions, and these job conventions offer a lot of different ways of people to get jobs. You know, I mean, you think about it, doesn't Las Vegas seem like it has just unique style jobs that you just can't get anywhere else, especially hospitality or service industry jobs? That's what I feel. I feel that that's what's really kind of sustaining this market here too, this economy. I mean, thinking about all the big stuff that's going on. We have, the big race coming on this year in November, right? Formula One. The Raiders are here. You know, you have a lot of different UFC fights are here all the time. A lot of different performances are happening. What do you guys think? I mean, you guys think this is going to be a bigger problem for the economy downturn if there is one?
You know, there's a lot of employers are looking for employees. They can't find good employees. I know I work with a lot of different law firms, and they cannot find like case managers, paralegals, good employees. A lot of people, honestly, because of COVID, they've been lazy. People have been staying home. They don't want to go to work. They got a bunch of checks, and they don't want to go to work. They can't. These law firms can't.
I think you hit it on the head, though. It's not. I don't know if it's about finding good employees.
It's a mentality these days.
Yeah, they don't want to work.
No one wants to work.
No one wants to work. And listen, I'm not saying nobody out there doesn't want to work, but I think there's a lot of people that are looking for that next job. That's that easy paying or higher paying job. That job that's a little bit better. Because look, the new millennials, the new age groups, there is no loyalty. You go back to like baby boomers, dude, you see people at the same job 30 years. Like, I'm going to stay in, I'm going to commit. Now it's just like nobody's married to anything. They're not even married to their spouse. You know what I'm saying? They're in and out of.
It's always temporary.
It's always temporary. So that's what I'm saying is what do you guys think? This job cuts thing is not going to be that big of a deal then? Is that
no,
what
it's going to be a big deal.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so.
Why do you feel that way?
Because the Feds 6-8 months ago started cutting rates or adding to the rate. And every time they do a rate increase, it takes 6 to 9 months for it to go into effect. So everything they've done 6 and 8 months ago is now starting to hit us. So as they went up from a 1/4 point to a 1/2 point, you're going to see in the next several months, it's going to start hurting revenues for big companies. And big companies drive Wall Street. And Wall Street is where people make their money. And when you see that happening, consumer confidence drops, unemployment rate goes up, default rates go up. And when you say people are out there, there's plenty of jobs at $20, $30 an hour who can live on $20, $30 an hour. You got to make $40 an hour just to afford an average home.
I mean, that's a good point. But
so
I mean,
people get very disappointed.
I think that's another reason too, is that the cost of living so much higher. You have inflation up. You have cost for groceries up 11, almost 12%. You have to almost
$8 a dozen.
You have to adapt. Yeah, exactly. You have to adapt in today's world, right? Would you think that's what's kind of people's mentality is today?
I think just people, they're just lazy. You know, they're not
Really?
the new generations.
The new generations are
Well, let me
lazier.
say this though: if you're working though, and you're getting another job that's bettering your position. I don't know if that's lazy. I think if you just want to live off of, let's say you're getting a COVID check, like a stimulus check, or you're getting, and if you don't need it, let's say you're getting food stamps or something like that, that's lazy to me. If you're saying, well, I went into a job and I've been working there for 6 months, 4 months, whatever it is, and all of a sudden another job popped up and it's better paying, better hours, you know, whatever, and it can put more money on the table or put more food on the table for my family, I think I'm going to do that, where I'm going to just...
Well, that's where loyalty is, in the money. It's not in the company. It's in the money.
It's in the money.
So like my kids are millennials, and they worked for many years for companies that didn't pay the greatest money. Now they're both making good money, and they're happy. They're content in their job. Would that job be, the company they're with, be the glue to the employment? I don't know. Do all jobs, you know, treat their company or treat their employees with dignity and respect all the time? I don't know, you know?
With the new generation, they're basically saying that, like, the new generation feels like, oh, you're lucky to have me. You know, that's how that mentality. Now, I'm not saying that's wrong.
No, I get it. I mean, there's maybe a part of that.
Because there's not that many people out there looking for jobs and for work. And a lot of times when I talk to the new generation, they'll say, I'm looking for a job. I'm like, how many resumes did you send out? And they're like, oh, I sent out like 3 or 4. Like, I remember back in the day, my brother, you know, years ago, he would send out
an hour.
He would say he would send out 100 resumes. I remember him taking 100 envelopes back in the day prior to like real email going out. put resumes in there, 100 human resources, attention human resources. He'd mail it 100 into a post office, post box, and basically just, he would get a few phone calls. So, I mean, it just seems like commitment in regards to, or the drive or being hungry. There's a book there called You Can't Teach Hungry. I just don't think a lot of people have that hungry attitude. Like, I want to get a job, I want to make money. Even with houses, a lot of the new generations don't really care about buying a house. Even some people, even like Grant Cardone out there, he's like, he doesn't believe in people buying homes. Like it's a way of making the bank rich. So there's different mentalities that are taking place as well. But
yeah, but what are you supposed to do? I mean, you're right. Maybe it is, but at the same time, I think there's a combination of inflation. I guess the question though is, what do you do to gain wealth, right? So that's why I think a lot of these younger generations are going to like that TikTok and doing all that, YouTube, and trying to really become like a star and get that monthly distribution, right? Because I think that's like quick money, and you don't have to invest into anything but yourself.
Well, social media has kind of changed the way kids' outlook on life is. I heard on the news the other day that the age of children wanting name brand things is getting lower and lower. I think 15 and under are looking for like Louis Vuitton and stuff like that. And when you think about it, that's one girl said, I asked my kid to give me her Christmas list. She's 12 years old. And on there was Louis Vuitton and other expensive items. And, kids have that. They see all these things on YouTube or on their podcasts, and they promote all these expensive things. And to them, that's normal. That's normalcy. You know what I mean?
Actually, these days, the biggest thing is everyone wants to become a social influencer, which is fun. In China, TikTok's all about education and school. Right. Where TikTok here, everyone's dancing around. Everyone's even my co-host, the crime solver. He's talking to people, he's thanking people, they're sending him digital flowers, they're putting a digital hat on his head, and he's making money. And then after an hour, he's making, let's say, $40, $50. You do that every single day, technically, right? It's $1,500 for the month. So everyone's dancing around or half naked or showing their feet. Like, that's a new job. Like, you just imagine that's a new job. You just put your feet up, you videotape your feet, and you make some money. So you haven't even tried that.
I'd love to do that.
we need to dedicate for Steve like at least 1 hour and try.
There we
if we can
go.
make any money, we showcase his feet.
I'll pick my toes for you.
We see if we get any feedback, Or what do you call OnlyFans, right? Like everyone's like online these days, showcasing themselves.
Well, that's what it is.
So you're missing out, Steve.
I am. But I'm the older generation. My buddy just told me this yesterday. He says, you're the older generation. Stop thinking like an old man. I said, but I am an old man. He goes, no, you're not. I said, well, how do I think like an old man? He goes, like you just said, you work for a company 20, 30 years. And he goes, it's not like that nowadays.
No, it's true. The times have changed.
Yeah.
So let's kind of move on here. So I think I would have to say that on the job situation, I would say it's alarming. And that's just my opinion on it. Just because
short-lived, though.
Well, let me say this. Confidence, economy. I don't think it has anything to do with, obviously it's a very low number, 12,000, but I do feel that because of
that's
this.
just Google though.
Yeah, that's the downturn though.
There's a dozen companies doing this.
Yeah, the psychological effect it's going to have, I think, on people if they continue to see these patterns. I've seen it at least 3 or 4 times. Maybe I'm just looking for it, but I've seen it at least 3 or 4 times where corporations over the last few months have laid people off. And I think that for me, I think the problem is that nobody's seeing an issue until it's here. And I think.
Have you ever had to lay anybody off?
Yeah.
It's tough. It's not easy. I mean, it's a human being. It's their livelihood. Whether they do something wrong that you have to let them go.
Have you laid somebody off?
Yeah.
Okay. But it's natural, right? I mean, it's part of the thing.
Well, they call it right sizing nowadays. They don't call it
right sizing.
Right sizing?
Right sizing, yeah.
All right, so let's keep moving. I want to talk about Lisa Marie Presley's estate. Now,
No shame.
Yeah, we're going to have Larissa here. We'll have her back a couple weeks, but we're going to talk a lot about that. But her estate was out there, right? I'm not sure if she had a trust or some type of will put in. Obviously, her kid had committed or was passed away, unfortunately. So
that was her downfall.
That was her downfall. And I think that a lot of people are like, well, where does this go? And what's the estate and what's the process now? And obviously, any debts that she may have or they have, that has to go first. But after that, who gets this, right?
Doesn't she have 2 other children or 1 other child?
I'm not sure. Does she?
Yeah, she has a daughter.
Children.
2 other children, yeah.
Yeah.
One of the problems is that 85% of the Elvis Presley estate was supposedly sold off a few years ago. So there's only like a 15%, I guess you call stake, in the Elvis Presley.
Yeah, but how much
company.
Is that 15%
I don't know.
worth?
I mean, it was worth a lot of money at the time, general, but I don't know why she sold off so much of it. And I also think one thing I'll share with you is kind of a very sad situation, but when you have tons of money, there's also tons of problems. I mean, knowing that your son passed away, and I mean, it's tough. Could you imagine, right? Your father is this legend who died, like drug overdose, and for all these years, you're going to these premieres of people showcasing your father. Like it's a very lonely feeling that
What was her cause of death? Was it the same? I mean,
she had a heart attack, I believe.
But was it contributed because of?
I mean, I don't want to speculate. I don't
know.
I would just speculate because all these like celebrities, it's always like drugs and alcohol and probably depression.
And she went through cycles of that. I'm sure that
her son just died.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And plus, she was, I think, $100 million in debt or something like that. I read.
Was she really?
Yeah, there was a huge debt load to the.
For what? What is she buying?
I don't know if it was taxes. I don't know what it was, but that's what I understand. Is she was
$100 million in debt.
Yeah, but when you have $800 million, that might not be anything to you.
Well, but I mean, still, you got to think that is that
it's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah,
but
it's a lot.
That's maybe another thing. But I think it was a kid. What else were you going to say?
I just think with money. I mean, I've seen this a lot as a cop. Just a lot of people if they have a lot of money, it leads to problems and drugs and depression, and it's a bad cycle.
How do people deal with like if you're out there and you see somebody on the street or somebody there, and I'm sure you've been in this position.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do at that point? Do you just? Are you looking at it going, well, let's get this person over to? Because I'll give you a story. I think you told me the story is, they got into the car. Somebody told me. I think it was maybe your story. They went to I think it was Esmeralda. She went and this person asked her about something on her phone or something. I forgot the story. It was on another podcast. But the guy was like, it was about like, I think it was like church or about a Bible. He ended up getting in the car or wanting to go to get help. She ended up calling the cop. The cop ended up putting him in the back car and taking him to a rehab place. And does that really happen? Do cops really go? I'm not going to sit here and say all cops do that, but do cops really have, for people that have issues like that, do they get them into the car or they try to support and help them the best way they can? Is there places for people like that to go?
Years ago when I first came out here, if someone said they wanted to kill themselves, you actually would call like a mental health worker that would come out. I remember that when I first came out here. I'm here 21 years. Actually, next month will be 21 years, February 19th. But they used to come out and you'd wait until the mental health worker would get there. These days, if someone says I want to kill myself, the officer, what they call it a legal 2000 form, basically you taking control of that person, and then I think it's within 72 hours you can hold the person in the hospital till they get seen by a psychological psychiatrist or something like that. But as long as someone says they want to hurt themselves, you can get them, into a facility. But a lot of people are smart, right? They see a cop in uniform or somebody, they're not like, I want to kill myself. They're like, yeah, I'm just upset or I'm depressed. But a lot of people suffer from depression. I think we all do in some way, some form or another, right? You wake up for a bad day, you got a lot of work, what's going on, everyone's different. But there is mental health professionals that help people,
Yeah, but you got to want it first, though. Like, there's a lot of people out there that have issues, and I'm not saying that maybe they don't know how to get it, or whatever, but you got to really want it. I've had people real close to me that's had some alcohol issues, and it had to get to a point where the brink of there's no coming back, right? You're staring at death's door a little bit, right? Just other people I know, they had to get to rock bottom or hit to that level. I mean, if you have $800 million, like you said, or you have resources that you can be taken care of, right? There's nothing you have to report to in the morning. There's not like a schedule or something like me where I have to go to work and report to work or report to the people I work, that I'm working for. Is that structure, part of that structure, part of what people need in life? And if you take that away and you're cradled because you have other opportunity or other things that could take care of you, is that making it too easy? You're just like, man, there's nothing. What am I here for, right? Like, what is my reason of being, I guess, right? And I think is that why a lot of these people get to that point? I don't know.
Look, life's not easy, right? I mean, you're married, not married, right? There's always something. We all have something to complain about or even be depressed about. That's why I think it's important for mental health, right? Whether you're reading books, whether you take care of yourself. I know with me, my gray hair starts coming, I go for a haircut. I get depressed seeing this gray hair. He's got more distinguished gray hair, so it's okay. But to me,
well, you do what I do. You just wear a hat. Nobody will know.
To me, I always like it high and tight in general. But
pretty soon your beard will get gray.
To me, I always get a little depressed, with my hair. Like I'm getting older, so I got to shave it. I get high and tight, like as a cop, right?
Yeah, but would you rather have no hair or gray hair?
Well, at least you could dye the hair, I guess.
That's what I'm saying, man. You got. I think you got an edge on us because I
probably got a decade on you.
But I mean, dude, if I had your hairline, right, I'd be good. I just, maybe it's for you, but you know what I mean.
But what I'm saying is this: everybody needs mental health in different ways. So these days, everyone's on TikTok and Instagram. Follow people that are positive, right? A lot of people that have those like affirmations and positive talk and speech on TikTok, Instagram. Follow positive people, Tony Robbins and stuff like that. Like you need to hear positive stuff. You have to be around positive people, right? Imagine if we were both negative people, what we'd be talking about.
That's why I don't watch crime scene stuff.
So really,
so it's so negative.
So it's just like people that say whatever your whoever is your network is your net worth, right? You want to hang around good people in general like that. So you have to make some changes. But if it's so far, you got to go to rehab. And I know someone the other day, she was able to do it. Basically, she was kind of on pills, and she's a really awesome, sweet woman. And she knew she had a problem. She put herself into rehab because she knew she just had to get off of it and be in those locations where she couldn't get, pills. And she did it. And she was there for 4 days. She basically probably was, killing herself inside of rehab, and she's out and she's staying away from that stuff. So it takes a lot to actually, one, to realize you have a problem, get help, and where do you go? But these days, there's a lot of free services that are out there. If you want something, you can make it happen, but it's up to you.
And then because you have the ability doesn't necessarily mean you get the resolution either. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can have all the money in the world and probably be the most miserable person in the world because you can't find satisfaction within yourself.
So here's my thing too, is that I'm not taking and discrediting. Do you think she was a national icon? I don't know.
I think being a child of a very famous person carries a lot of good and a lot of bad with it because you live in that shadow, but you also have more opportunity than the average person. So there's a dichotomy to that is we'll never understand that because we don't live in that world.
Right. But it's just weird how you kind of grandfathered in that terminology that you're honored at the same way, or like, hey, you're a part of that.
Respect. It's a respect.
That lineage or that heritage,
respect,
right?
yeah.
Right. That's kind of what it is. So about the estate, let's talk about that. You said that 85% of it or something was sold off. Is that right?
Yeah.
So talk to me about that situation if you know a little bit about it.
I mean, I just know it was sold off. I mean, I'm sure she's got money, debt, whoever the situation may be. I mean, it's not a good situation.
Probably wasn't making a lot of money either. You know what I mean?
You don't think so? I don't know, man.
I mean, what could you charge to tour, Graceland? $25? Well, do you get 1,000 people? I mean, the cost of maintaining it and keeping it and all that, who knows?
Was that
she
her
sold
only,
it off because she needed the money.
But was that her only income
No, she
source,
had a recording career.
Right.
She had a lot of other things going on for her. And again, you accumulate wealth, but the more you accumulate, the more people you accumulate in your life that suck you dry too.
All right, you guys are watching the French Workbench podcast here on a Saturday. Also want to bring up, with this situation, with this estate, right, and this planning, I think the problem is people don't get set up on trying to get started on getting a will or a trust or something set up. You guys want to check out Larissa. She's an attorney, right, and she's on the show here a lot, so you guys want to check her out.
Estate attorney.
She's an estate attorney, and this is why we're bringing this up is people are in this situation probably more than we think. And I think once you're in the situation, you're like, damn, I wish I'd have thought about this before I got here. Now you're there. And I'm not saying that this is exactly what's going on with their estate, but we see this a lot. Celebrities have these issues consistently, right? I would say.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so hit her up. We're going to have her information. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
Yeah, I was just saying, so Larissa Drahobitzer, which if you want to go to larissa.thelawyer.com,
Yep.
I always like, even though like Larissa at Law, I always like saying Larissa the Lawyer. It just kind of rhymes well. So whether it's larissa@law.com or larissa.thelawyer.com, she's great because she actually does free simple wills for people. So if you need a free simple will, she will do that for people in the community, which is amazing. And then if you need trust and all the estate planning, which the truth is a lot of people, we're not like trying to prepare for the future, and it's something that you need to do because you never know. And sometimes people die young, which is sad, knock on wood. We live a long, long life, but the truth is you just don't know. So you need to be prepared. So you got family, kids, you got assets. So Larissa Drahobitzer could definitely help you out in regards to that. She's also part of the Las Vegas Legal Network, which is a lot of times I send people to that. Since I'm not an attorney, I'm a retired cop, is what I call the problem solver. I try to help people with problems, but when it comes down to legal matters, someone like Larissa or other attorneys I work with, LasVegasLegalNetwork.com, and their toll-free number is 1-844-LAWYERS, and they do a lot of free services if someone gets a free traffic ticket. And I'm not sure if you know, traffic tickets recently, 95% got decriminalized.
Yeah.
But if you get a traffic ticket, Las Vegas Legal Network has some licensed attorneys that will do traffic ticket representation for free. So any of the listeners mention the French Connection or Dan French in regards to getting some, traffic. God forbid you get a ticket, and knock on wood, you don't.
Absolutely.
Just take the ticket, don't talk to the cop, have a great day, and drive on your way.
Move on.
And then you just go to lvln.vegas, you upload the ticket, and then a licensed attorney will call you.
Yeah, we need to hit that up a little bit here in a second. I'm going to cut to a commercial here in a second. Let's go ahead and cut to a commercial.
Paying the bills.
Hey, hi there. This is Dan French. You guys know me from podcast, the French Workbench podcast, and I just launched a new channel, The Sound Off. If you guys want to work with a realtor that's had experience, not just this flash, realtor out here that's putting out videos and then works through the process of getting internet leads. I'm somebody that's been in the trenches. If you guys want to start with a realtor that has knowledge and experience over 15 years, I'm your guy. I'm your go-to realtor here in Las Vegas. I'll roll up my sleeves and work hard for you. Please check out lvhomeprofessionals.com. That's a great place to get started. So there's a lot of problems out here with people looking to buy a house. And when they look at inflation, they look at rates, it's really hard to justify buying a house today. I'm here to help you, guide you through that process and really make you understand what's happening in this market and pass the ball to you.
Cameraman loved that.
There you go. We're back. So anyways, I just wanted to give you guys a quick commercial there. So we're going to go right back into this. So let's go ahead and move on to our next topic. Now, one of the things I want to bring up here is if you guys are looking to get started here in Las Vegas, this is a great place to get started right here. And this is my website. So again, we just brought this up on the commercial. Check this out, man. There's a lot of good information here, a lot of good topics, a lot of good stuff that you can bring up. Also, it has a connection to all of my YouTube channel, all of my channels actually. So check us out there, and hopefully, you guys visit there and then check out also after that the LV Home Professionals. Now, let's go back to our topics here and bring back in some of the things we were going to discuss. And let's see what we got here. So let's move this over here. Oh, see if this works. Not that one. So, let's see here.
As you find it, I'll recap to Steve here. A big thing in Vegas is a lot of people would have these traffic warrants. Mm-hmm. And even when I was a cop in Henderson, I would look for people that had warrants. That was my job, right? Technically write tickets, bring people to jail, help people, right? Not that I was really big with writing tickets, but if you found someone with a warrant, they would go to jail. Most people do not know they had warrants, especially if it was traffic related, right? They forgot about the ticket, speeding, they put it in the glove compartment. But about 50,000 warrants were out there, and as of January 1, they quashed the warrants. So 50,000 people, we talk about 12,000 or 5% in Google, but right. 50,000 people in Vegas, they could have went to jail and they're not going to go to jail any longer. So it's actually a big deal for Vegas and the economy, because think about 50,000 people, they got picked up for a warrant, their car got towed, that was $300. Mm-hmm. They go to jail, they can't get out. 2-3 days later, they lose their job, right? Yep. That's 20,000, 50,000 for each person.
Yep.
So it's actually a big deal. Most people just don't understand how the cycle of being arrested, how it affects, right? Paying rent, paying their mortgage, losing their job. They don't have money to buy food.
Oh, because of a parking ticket or a speeding ticket?
Come on. So, the only thing I get a little bit nervous about being, a retired cop, will people drive more recklessly knowing that it's not a criminal matter any longer? It's a civil fine. So, ticket could be $150, $250. Maybe you can't get your driver's license. I'm not sure how it's going to affect things. But it's definitely different for the community. And I just get concerned a little bit. You got these marijuana lounges that are opening up now on the Strip.
Are you guys going to go to that? Because I think a lot of people are going to go into
the marijuana lounge?
Well, because you're going to take away the alcohol drinking. So there's going to be, because this is what I heard, you can't have an alcohol license to have a marijuana lounge to have that. Would you guys ever go into something like that?
I know Steve's a real big smoker. No, I'm joking.
Dude, Steve's a toker over here.
No, I'm not.
He's got 6 plants at his house growing right now. It's legal.
I got.
Steve used to be one of those guys. You were a hippie, weren't you, Steve?
No, I was just after that. My sister went to Woodstock. My brother had long hair. I had long hair in high school, but that was the trend.
I don't know how it's going to work. I'm not a big smoker. I think I smoked maybe once or twice in my life. I was a cop for all these years, so you couldn't really smoke. But I don't know. It's gonna be very interesting. I think that
I thought they couldn't have a lounge like within 1,500 feet of a casino or school.
I believe that it's gonna be inside the casinos. I thought that's what the take was. The lounge was gonna be inside the casinos.
Oh my God! Yeah, because
like
they can't
karaoke lounges.
They can't smoke in the rooms. They can't.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you guys ever smoked? Just be honest.
I smoked twice.
Did you?
Yeah.
How did it make you feel?
I guess for the fact that I was a cop and I was never able to do it, and then it became legal.
But this is before you were a cop, I'm assuming.
No. Actually, I never smoked until after I was a cop.
Really?
Yeah. Basically, I had a stomach issue when I was younger. My mom was like, "Hey, don't do any drugs. You're going to hurt yourself and stuff like that." Right. So I was a rare breed in regards to that. So I never tried after I was a cop. And I started working in a law firm. Of course, a criminal defense lawyer was like, "Hey, why don't you try it?" I was like, "I'm not a cop anymore." I felt a little weird, but I smoked. But I didn't really get that much of an effect on it. The second time, maybe maybe I was a little giddy or something, but I really didn't really go down that route, you know? But I mean, I just think it's interesting times with all these marijuana places and advertising, like, you know, lounges coming up. Like I said, I was concerned, are people going to be, it's bad enough they're drinking and driving and killing people. Now they're going to be smoking marijuana and then they're going to be driving as well and then kill people too. So the increase of substantial bodily harm and death, will that increase for Clark County? And that's kind of my concern. I got 3 babies out there, right? You know, that they're going to, as they're growing up in Vegas, you know, is that going to be a problem, right? It doesn't exist in other cities.
Right.
As much.
What about you? You ever smoke weed?
I refuse to answer the question on the grounds it may incriminate me.
Really?
I plead the fifth.
Well, I'm going to say this. I did, and it was Taco Tuesday.
I think everybody has.
Listen,
you know,
when I went and had
speculation.
Oh yeah, speculation. I probably had about 12 tacos that day. You know, more than I ever had. You know, and it's just crazy how it just kind of makes you think different, and everything just kind of slows down. It's just weird to me. But
in high school, we used to go drink, and when the bar is getting ready to close, we go burn one in the parking lot, and then we drive down to White Castle and grab a dozen burgers or sliders and drive home. You know what I mean? And sober you up a little bit, and then get you home.
I think there's medical.
I didn't have the marijuana pub, but I went to the White Castle.
We did. No, we did that. That's what we do. We go
out
the
marijuana.
The bar would
and
close. We go in the parking lot. There's nowhere else to go for 2 hours. Everybody say, okay, light one up. Boom. You light it up, and boom, we go off to White Castle.
You're out and about.
White Castle was always open up to like East Coast at 2 a.m.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
It was like the only thing that was open.
That's it.
That's
you get
funny,
a bag
man.
of sliders, man.
All right, let's go on to our topic here. So we're going to talk about T-Mobile exposed personal data of 37 million people.
I'm screwed.
Yeah, right. Are you T-Mobile?
Yeah, I am.
You are.
Yeah.
Matter of fact,
got off the
I think I saw your name come up because there's a list.
Probably did. I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah, and I got the list, and I was like, wait a second, that looks familiar, but I'm not going to ask.
I mean, come over to the hairs. My glasses. I have my glasses. Come on.
You know, if you don't mind, I have the list of all the T-Mobile people that got affected by this. I just need to check your credit card to see.
Yeah.
whether
Oh, here,
you're-
let me give you my bank account info. You'll find me faster that way.
I
Yeah.
just want to confirm if you're one of the victims.
Right?
Here, let me victimize myself.
So this is becoming a problem, I think, hackers, right? And then it's hacking into big. We had a credit card situation. What was the credit card company that got hacked? Wasn't it a credit card company a couple years ago? Big credit card
Everybody's
company.
getting
There
it.
was a bank.
Even the airport got hacked. Although they're denying it, but
They got
I say it
hacked.
was a hack.
So
So shortly after that, Canada's airport got hacked.
So my thing is, or should you be worried out there, right? That this is a
Or as
big
Dave
pro-
said, speculation.
Yeah, it's speculation. You think something's going to happen here? Like, you're in police force. Like, what happens when stuff like this happens?
You know, I met an engineer the other day that does human resources for like these big tech companies, and they're looking for hackers and different people.
Yeah.
And then these people are hired by like, what do you call it, Tesla and what's his name? Who's the owner of Tesla? I'm losing my mind.
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk for people.
That's a sign of age, Dave.
Yeah, I know. I'm getting old. Too much going on here. So yeah, basically, you know,
He's still thinking
they're
about
look-
weed.
They're looking for hackers. I mean, they're looking for people that know how to do this stuff. So I mean, it's just crazy times. A lot of criminal activity takes place. You know.
Well, and I mean, for years, and I'm sure the police department would use thieves, home burglars, to learn how to come up with security issues
Right.
to help people secure their homes. There's a lot of people made a lot of money in that too. So
Interesting
expected.
thing. I was at a building the other day, and everyone's like putting all these video cameras up all the place.
Yeah.
And I'm laughing because we have all these video cameras.
You're
but
at
the
my
truth
house?
is- not your house. And then the truth is, most people that break into a place, they're gonna be wearing a mask and gloves.
Yeah.
So you got this camera of some guy wearing a mask and gloves running around the place. You need to be spending money on preventing people from breaking into your home, like security.
But I
laminate.
send that to China, and they're able to define who it is.
You think so?
Because they've got everybody's information.
Dude, they said
Possibly.
also, too, that China's technology is obviously surpassed U.S.
Well, every TikTok person on Earth is in China's database, so they've got pictures of you. They got everything,
Also-
and
yeah.
they use AI better than we do.
Your behavior patterns and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
big time.
I mean, do you think that TikTok is one of those platforms that people should stay away from? There's news-
Absolutely.
Really?
Absolutely.
Why is that?
Everybody should stay away from all tech platforms. If you don't have to be online, get offline.
Yeah, but what if you're doing it to enhance your business or promote, or because I mean we do it. I don't think like
There's
if you're
other
on
platforms,
there,
aren't
if you're
there?
on there to just be like, hey, I'm a new TikTok star, and
But
you're-
there's other platforms. But even though TikTok is big, TikTok is invasive, and it does take your information. And not that Google doesn't take your information, but it's what they do with it that makes a difference. Go try and hack an Apple phone. Who was the guy in Florida? Killed the school, went to the school and shot up everybody. It took them months before they can hack into the guy's iPhone, and Apple wouldn't give him permission. So I mean, there's a lot of protections in this country that aren't in that country.
What about you think the same about TikTok? Like you think that's like a hacker's dream? They'll just be able to get your information.
I mean, the government employees, I think, are no longer allowed to have the TikTok app on the actual phone. So there's definitely some concerns. The truth is, these days,
what's the difference between that and Instagram?
Because they're saying they're tracking everything. Like basically,
isn't Instagram?
Like right now, your phone is listening to us unless you shut off that feature.
It's what they do with the information. In other words, if I use it against you, that's not a good thing.
Right. But
if they know 150 people are at the Pentagon right now, right? It's a problem.
Yeah.
They know on Wednesdays at 3, there's 5 guys at the Pentagon. It's a problem because they're tracking it.
Well, that part is different. What I'm saying though is like if you're an average person, obviously you have regulations within your phone that you have to do with the working for. But what's the difference between Facebook, Instagram, TikTok? Like meaning, they can say, well, somebody in China started TikTok or the big corporation, somebody started it right there. They're getting information. Well, didn't we just have something go on recently where you had, a breach where they were getting our information or tapping into our phone, right? What was the guy's name that came out and he left the country because he was in, trouble? What was that guy's name?
You're talking about the basketball player?
No. The guy that reported that they were coming into our phone. This was a while ago, and he had glasses. You remember the guy I'm talking about?
I remember.
Okay, so he was the guy that reported, and he was the whistleblower. And if you guys know that guy's name, go ahead and put it in the comment section. We'll get to it. But the U.S. is doing it already. They're already getting the information. They were doing it years before this TikTok app came out.
Well, it happened after 9/11. All the data services, the metadata that was AT&T was providing the U.S.
Yeah.
Because it's all through the communications companies. I mean, obviously, they're all communication companies.
Yeah, Julian. I think his name was one of them was Julian Assange.
Yeah.
And then the other one was there was another guy with the glasses.
He was an ex-military guy. Yeah, he's in Russia right now.
Yeah, that guy. I forgot his name.
Yeah.
I forgot his name.
Well, but either way, the thing is, like I said, it's what they do with the data and how they use it against you rather than for you.
Well, it's like today, like in regards to shopping, right? Like the phone's listening to you, it's sending you things, the banner ads. Right. So the question
do you have a problem with that? Like, do you feel like
some people like it because they're like, wow, they're helping me find out what to buy.
Yeah.
It's convenience, right? But you have to be careful, right? As you're talking about something, it's listed to you. Also, if you were about to commit, we're talking about a crime, right? Like crimes have been committed have been on phones and so on. Like it's just kind of like a big brother device watching and listening for you. Even like one time, it's a kind of funny story because you guys are realtors. I remember I worked at a law firm and I was telling a lawyer like, hey, I'm buying 2 condos in Ocala, Florida. I'm like, where the hell is Ocala, which is 1 hour north of Orlando? And I was going to buy these 2 cheap condos at the time. So I was on his computer showing him. So after that day, everything was showing up Ocala, Florida, Ocala. And the guy was like, wow, Ocala must be really popular. I keep seeing it like all over. It was all over his computer, like everything. Like you want to buy a home, you want to buy groceries, right? So like it just takes over your whole computer, whatever you're looking up, So again, I think we're just going to be careful. But honestly, I don't even know the extent that China is really doing things, but it's enough for the government to be so worried.
Let's put it this way.
Certain states are actually banning. Was it like Texas or some state?
Let's put it this way. What if they were to take that information on you and they came to you, the FBI walks in the door and says, Dan, we've got you on this porn site. We've got you here. We've got...
That's him.
Wait a second. Who's following me? I'm saying.
He was saying they're good.
You know what I'm saying? So what if they would, because you did a podcast and they didn't like what you said?
Well, look, here's what it comes down to is some people are going to be hypersensitive. You have Americans out there. I don't know what the survey or poll would be if you said, hey, do you really think this is a big deal or not? I think it's a problem, and I think it's going to be a continuous problem.
Freedom of speech is going to get taken away.
Just hacking in general, but with this T-Mobile thing, I think, are people just going to sweep this under the rug because now it's not something that they haven't seen before. It's almost like when you see this stuff, it's big news. What if it's not big news unless it attacks you or it happens to you? And I guess that's the thing is, if you're not going to be affected, then you're not going to be affected.
Here's the problem I have with it. There's no perfection against hacking, right? Nobody's going to stop hacking. However, when you're a multi-billion-dollar company like them and you get exposed like that, you're responsible. You should be held accountable for that. You know what I mean? Because it's not something that you're trusting that your information will not. And to find out months later and they send you a little email, say, here, register here for your protection. We'll monitor your credit score for the next 12 months. And it's all a scam.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and move on. I think that's
Yeah.
going to be a problem for some. I think if most people, my opinion, they're just not going to even look at it. People don't do anything, like I said, unless it gets directly affecting or it affects them or their family or somebody they know. Other than that, they probably don't give.
Lose your freedom of speech. Watch how fast it affects you.
Yeah, exactly. Let's move on to our next topic here. So I want to talk a little bit about what's happening in the housing prices and the mortgage industry right now.
All right, I got to go.
What's that? You got to go? So Steve's going to go because Steve's from part of KB Home. Anyways.
I recommend buying a new home. No joke.
All right. Buy now. No. Yeah. So my thought is they're saying in 2023, you're going to see a downturn.
First half of the year.
The economy is going to slow down. They also think that mortgage rates are going to stay high and prices are going to still come down. I also think, though, that there's a lot of speculation that they're not going to come down much, and they will still come down. But heading into next year, it's going to be somewhat of we leveled off. Rates have now come down as much as they've come down for this whole year because they think it's another decline, or rates are going to continue to go up maybe a little bit or stay where they're at. The big question is, what do you think rates are going to do? Because I think that really determines the psychological position people have on buying altogether or looking at economy and markets. This housing market is like 1/3 of the economy or the GDP that we have for the housing sector of people buying homes. Rates, housing, where do you guys think rates are going to be at? Do you think they're going to stay where they're at and keep coming down? Because recently they came down.
Well, the 10-year Treasury bond is dropping. That's a good sign for rates. If rates come with a 5 in front of it, you're going to see a frenzy again in Las Vegas, in my opinion. Not a frenzy, but you're going to see people coming off the sideline, in my opinion.
What about you? I mean, you're not in the housing industry, but I'm sure you got an opinion on it. What do you think is going to happen?
I'm not sure if you know, but I own 14 places.
There you go.
So I just think that the time is weird, and I'm not sure what's going to happen. Some people think there's going to be a bunch of foreclosures. Some people don't think so because the inventory. I think if rates stabilize and people need to buy a home specifically, that you need a home. Rent is wasting your money, right? It's in the garbage, right? The rate of rent is 100%. The rate for buying a home is what now? 4 to 6%. So what would you say the rate is?
About 6.25 right now.
6.25. And then these days, if you're buying a new home, like with yourself or a used home,
there's buy downs,
you can buy down the rate,
stuff,
and the rate's not so bad. Rates used to be a lot higher. My parents, they were paying 12% or 9% or whatever it was.
But the house was $100,000 or less.
True. So, I mean, if you need a home and you don't want, and the problem is, it's not like rents are low, right? Rents are high these days still. Rents are still high. So the bottom line is, if you need a home, you want to buy a home, right? You get with a professional like yourself, Dan, Steve, figure out new home, used home. Is it a good deal? Is it a bad deal? Can you go get a veteran's loan, right? 0 down, right?
Right.
Is there foreclosure programs like back in the day, Home Steps, Home Path, right? You need to know what programs are out. That's why you need to get with a good real estate agent like yourselves. You need to also get with a good lender and figure out what's going on. So everyone's in a different situation. I don't think it's going to tank. I think that I noticed the new homes that are very expensive have dropped, maybe 50 grand, 100 grand.
Right.
But the homes that are cheaper, I don't think they've gone down that much whatsoever. It's still high. Would you guys agree with that, or?
I think
like a home that's 400,000.
I think it's like this. The buyers today feel like they can just hit a home run on every deal, and they're going to come in and ask for all the incentives they can get and think that they're going to get 40, 50 off the sale of the house. Same thing with existing homes. The sellers, they're going to ask whatever they can and just try to. And if they don't get that grand slam, they're not doing anything. And it's almost like the only reason somebody's going to come into a market is if they get the grand slam. That's the only thing. The way they see, like, well, that I can justify buying a house today. Mm-hmm. Some people just need to buy a house. And at some point, it's not just about rates and costs. I mean, it does play a factor because it's your payment if you need a loan. But I think with your situation is unrealistic terms, unrealistic position that buyers are in, because now they're in the position of power. Mm-hmm. They go in and see Steve. What do they ask for, Steve? They ask for everything in the moon, right?
Well, the times require that people walk in the door and the first thing out of their mouth is, what are your incentives? And they haven't even looked at your model yet. And I'm thinking to myself, well, why would you want to know my incentive? What if you hate my home? What does it matter?
Yeah,
everyone's looking for a deal, but I mean,
so to that point, everybody wants a deal. Well, what is that going to do for you in the next 3 to 5 years? Is that going to make your home nicer? Is it going to make you more comfortable in your home? You may find the nicest home on earth, and it might not be affordable to you until you get an incentive. I understand that. However, are you buying more than you should be? Are you expecting this to turn into an ATM in a year or two? Mm-hmm. I had this conversation with a customer the other day. How long are you going to stay in the house? Like, I want to stay in it forever. I said, well, most people are in the house 7 years. Do you see yourself selling your house in the next 7 years?
Is that a first-time home buyer, though? Because usually a first-time home buyer will say that. Like, I'm never going to move. You know?
They currently own a home. And because I asked, why are you looking to move? What's wrong with the current house that you have? And I think most people through 2008, when they lost their pants, are afraid they're going to lose if the market dips next year. And we went over this months ago in one of your podcasts. We pulled up your MLS and we looked from 2008 to now, and the prices just constantly go up. They dip and they come back up again. Dip and go up, dip and go up, dip and go up. So the unaffordability of homes is a challenge. I agree with that. But I don't think we're going to see affordable homes come in this town in the near future.
No, I don't think so either. I think this is the new norm. And I talk about this on the podcast and also my other clips and stuff on my other channels, is that I think today you look at the housing sector and the cost affordability and home affordability in general, and just living in Las Vegas, is it affordable? And I think that's diminishing every day. We have higher gas than most now. Our cost of living is going up. Rents we're up 20, 30%, like you were saying.
But we're growing, though. We are
growing,
this.
but it's not the same anymore.
Right, because we're becoming a big city. We're not a little city anymore. We've got professional sports teams. We talked about, is 12,000 homes on the market supposed to be good for the economy, or should it be 24 now that the population's 2.5 million almost? You know what I mean?
You know, it's interesting you say that. A lot of people that when they live in a home, they think that they buy their first home, that it's going to be their only home. Right. Most people move within 7 years. Right. When I bought my first home, I felt like I'm not moving anywhere. I'm here 30 years. I'm here a long time. And then I think within maybe 4 years, I got married, and basically I bought another home, and then several homes later, right? Which I'm surprised. But the truth of the matter is, right, everyone's in a different situation if they're staying here long term. But the truth is, financial wealth really does come through real estate. I've personally have more wealth through real estate than if I was with the stock market and so on. Right. But now, unless you got some really good information with a stock tip or something, or you made money with Bitcoin, personally, my wealth comes from real estate. And even my parents, right? They owned one home for 40 years in New York City. They bought it for, let's say, I don't know, 60 grand. They sold it, 30 years later for like 750. They moved to Vegas, and basically they're living a better lifestyle. The home was 350. They have money in the bank. So everyone's different. Imagine if you had one extra home. So the one thing I do suggest to people, for wealth and in general, you should be buying one home a year and making it into a rental property and have people
doing
pay
something with it.
A home.
Well, and then you got the government squashing that. They changed the regulations January last year. It's not like you can go buy a rental property, put only 20% down, and pay maybe a half a point than if it was a primary or an occupied home. They're making it impossible for investors. They want corporate investors to buy, not you. So if you were to go buy a home right now, a second home, you're probably putting 35% down, and you're probably at least a point higher than what the current mortgage rate is for an owner-occupied home.
All right, we got to end the show, guys. It's been an hour. I want to say thank you guys for coming on. We're done here. If you guys have any questions about what's going on, like I said, hit danfrenchconnection.com. Also, I want to give a shout out to you here, the Problem Solver. You do a podcast. What's your podcast days that you do, and what do you do it about, really?
I mean, the Problem Solver is Thursdays at 4:30. We go live on all these different platforms, right? Facebook, YouTube, Spotify. The goal is to help people solve problems, bring experts on. I mean, we had Anthony Cools, who was a hypnotist in Vegas for 20-something years. He came on and he shared some thoughts about, if you want to stop smoking or gambling or eating and drinking, stuff like that, that you can go get, hypnotized. And basically, if you have that type of problem,
Worked for me.
So it did work for you, stop smoking?
Yeah.
So everyone's different. We bring on different people, whether it's a realtor, a mortgage person, lawyers, everybody, different nonprofits. But my goal is to help people as a problem solver, as a retired cop. I want to help people. I love getting a phone call 2 a.m. People call me. They get upset. They need some help. And I try to do everything possible as a retired cop, use my resources to help people. And God forbid, if they need an attorney, I refer them to the Las Vegas Legal Network, which is about 25 attorneys. And I ask these lawyers specifically to help people. And it's not all about the money situation, whether it's a traffic ticket or something. But I just enjoy helping people. It's just something I always done as a cop in uniform. And now I'm not in uniform, but I'm still helping people and solving problems.
How about you, Steve? Anything else you have to say? I know you're at KB Home.
I think Dave should run for president. Right? Dave should be in D.C. He should be solving the problems.
They'll find
of
something
the
on me. I'm not perfect,
Right? But I mean, I'm going to be hopefully have an invite. I got other things working. Right? We talk about that. It's always good to have exposure. So it's good to have somebody out here. What you have any last words here?
No, just if you're looking for a new home, stop by Rainbow and Pebble, just 1 block north of Blue Diamond Road, and my number is 702-499-5618. If you're interested in a single-story home in an all single-story community
with tons of incentives.
Right.
Well,
He hopes.
We'll see.
We'll put something together.
Absolutely. All right, guys, that's it. We're going to go ahead and end the show here. Thank you, guys. If you guys are out there and you guys are looking for anybody to get started with on relocation here to Las Vegas, you can check me out, French Workbench Podcast. That's this. Also, French Connection, Dan French Connection. Like the channel, subscribe to the channel. We'll be back here on next Saturday, and we're going to start getting guests. I think that's our objective here, is to start get more people on. Like you said, you bring guests on your podcast, bring other people. If you guys have anybody out there that wants to come on, that's it. Dan French, the French Workbench Podcast. We'll see you guys at next Saturday. See you then.
Thanks, Dan.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you for watching the French Workbench Podcast. You can find us here every Tuesday at 6 p.m. and Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. to find out all the information on real estate and financing here in Las Vegas. Also, check us out on our LV Home Professionals website. You can find your future home there. A lot of good information.